Hey everybody, Abadesi from Hustle Crew here. So this week I want to talk to you a little bit about performance bias and attribution bias. As you know, from the minute we grow up, we are washed with stereotypes and images, particularly images that relate to certain identities. We tend to see men, specifically white men, in roles of leadership and power, and we tend to see women, specifically white women, in domestic roles. In a similar way, we tend to see black and brown people in positions of service, from cleaners to maids. Well, what does this mean? These deep rooted assumptions impact what we believe instinctively about certain identities' performance. So, for example, it has been shown in study after study that you're more likely to be called for interview if you have an English sounding name on your CV versus, let's say, a Muslim name like Muhammad. These are real things that still happen all the time. Now, when it comes to work, how does performance bias play out? Well, if you have to assess anybody's performance, for example, who you should hire, who you should bring onto a project, who you should promote or put in charge. If there's any ambiguity at all in how you assess that decision and make that decision, guess what's going to happen? You're going to rely on stereotypes to make that decision. Now, of course, this negatively impacts women, black people, brown people, other underrepresented minorities who are not used to seeing in roles of high performance at the workplace. So be really, really mindful of that. Closely related to performance bias is attribution bias. This is where we struggle to give credit or recognition to people, again, because we rely on assumptions and stereotypes. So, for example, because we assume that men are more competent at work, we also assume that they have done the heavy lifting or the key contributions that have made a project a success. Unfortunately, this also means that we disproportionately deny credit and recognition to black and brown people and women who have also contributed to projects. Worse than that, they're also disproportionately more likely to receive blame for failure or anything that goes wrong. So please be very mindful when you are participating in group work to make sure that where you are criticizing someone's contributions, you're doing that on a very evidence-based way and not leaning into stereotypes. I hope this has been a helpful explanation, and we'll be sharing more soon.